and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 3 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get into that, quickly just want to go through a couple of things with you. Now first of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the latest Happy Valley preview where I teamed up with Shireen Wu on her YouTube channel. We do these for all the Happy Valley races every Wednesday, go through some of the key races there. And if you want to watch our preview, just make sure you hit the link in the description box below, and that will take you through to our YouTube channel. So fingers crossed we can find some winners in Hong Kong. Also as well, I just want to quickly reflect on how our tips have run today. In the end, we still do have one tip to run at the current time recording, and that runs in the last race at Seville tonight. We put up the Bruyne horse, so fingers crossed he can give us a winner. But yeah, our other tip that's run for us so far today, my Nat Busy Street, just couldn't get into the race in the end at Newcastle, finished in 4th place. But if you've been watching the racing throughout the afternoon, you want to be really handy today. It doesn't often ride like that at Newcastle, but when it does, it can be a front runner's paradise. We obviously saw it at the Steward, and if you've seen some of the other races today, a lot of horses that have been making the frame have been racing very prominently. So it's just one of those days today where a lot of horses that are at the rear that normally would come with a late run to clean up just haven't been doing that today. So yeah, a little bit frustrating there with my nap, but fingers crossed our next best, De Bruyne horse, can give us a winner in the 740 at Seville. So enough of that, let's get into the tips then for tomorrow's racing. Now I'm recording this video just after 4 o'clock and all the prices were correct at the time of recording. I'm going to be going to Lingfield tomorrow with my next best for a fillies novice race, and in this race I'm going to be going for Petalite for Shane Kelly and Ed Walker in the colours of Highclere Thoroughbred Racing. Now this filly has only had 2 starts so far, and in both starts she is shaped with promise. She's by Kingman, who's definitely the sire of the moment on the flat, and she's out of a Galileo mare, so a lovely pedigree. And Petalite so far, she's had 2 runs. Both of them have come at Wolverhampton and Kempton, finishing 3rd on both occasions. Now, her first run was against fillies, where she ran really credibly that day, but she just looked like she needed the run. She was quite well fancied in the betting that day too, so connections obviously do think quite a bit of her. Also as well at Kempton, I thought her run was more than satisfactory. You know, she just bumped into a Gary Moore horse called Durdle Door, who had been running in some nice novice races before that. So she's been running fairly well, and I think this race on paper tomorrow is quite a weak affair. Also as well, what's interesting to note is those races on her prior 2 starts were over 7 furlongs, and she's going to be stepping up in trip to a mile. And if you've seen the race replay at Kempton, she was just finding again at the end, suggesting that going up in trip should really suit her. I think the sharp track, the sharp nature of Lingfield will suit her as well. So I think there's a lot to like about the chances of Petalite tomorrow. At the time recording is 3 to 1 with bookmakers, and I think this horse should probably go off a little bit shorter tomorrow. I could see her maybe going off 7 to 4, 15 to 8, that kind of price. I think she'll go really well. And also as well, Ed Walker's team haven't been in bad form, so there's a lot to like about this daughter of Kingman tomorrow, and fingers crossed Petalite can get us off to a good start. We then go to my nap of the day, which runs in the feature race at Warwick in the 305, the mares listed chase, and I'm going to be putting up Annie Mac here as my nap of the day. And you can currently back her at the time of recording, where she's 2 to 1 with bookmakers at the moment. Best price for John Joe Neal Jr. riding for his dad, John Joe Neal Sr. in the colours of Coral Racing. Now, I've been beating the drum for Annie Mac to go for the mare's chase for quite a while at Cheltenham. She's one of, in fact, the only anti-post bets I've had for this year's Cheltenham Festival. To be honest with you, I don't really fancy too much at this stage for the festival, but Annie Mac is definitely one of those. I just don't know why she isn't a shorter price and buying it out for favouritism. She's currently 18 to 1 at the time recording with Bet365, which is the biggest out there I've seen for anti-post for the mare's chase. She's generally a 16 to 1 shot with most firms. But yeah, Annie Mac, I put her up over the Christmas period at Doncaster when she absolutely bolted up. She won by 17 lengths in a mare's listed chase there, and it wasn't a bad renewal of that race. And the second place horse from that race of Paul Nicholls' stable has subsequently run not a bad race to finish in second behind Zambella at Leicester. Now we're going to be meeting Zambella tomorrow, and I think our horse easily has the beating of her. If you actually look at Annie Mare and her record in mares races, she's actually undefeated so far over fences against mares. Okay, she hasn't ridden against them many times because she's been mixing it in better company against the boys, but against her own sex, she's an absolute machine. She can go over further, she can go over 3 miles, she's very effective over 2.5 miles. She loves heavy ground, which she's going to have in her favour at Warwick tomorrow. I think she's a very good bet for the Cheltenham Festival, where if you look at the market in the Mares' Chase, and you look at some of them at the top, you know, like Benny's de Jure, even Colreevy, you know, I wasn't that impressed by her win at Thales the other week. You know, I know loads of people going on about it, but I thought the form really and the rival she was beating, okay, she couldn't have done any more, but I think people were getting carried away, and we would get £5 from Colreevy in that race if Annie Mac does turn up, because she won a grade 1 over the Christmas period now. So there's a lot to like about Annie Mac if she was to turn up in the Mares' Chase at Cheltenham. I can't understand why she is a big price. You know, if you look at this field tomorrow, Happy Diva is probably her biggest danger on paper, who's been a good servant for Kerry Lee, but she hasn't been in the same kind of form this season. You know, she's been a little bit disappointing, and with the younger legs of Annie Mac, she's still only a 7-year-old. I think there's a lot more to come from her, you know, and I think she can go a lot further, and I think she should take all the beating in this race tomorrow. And I think at 2-1 she should arguably be a little bit shorter in the betting. So that's going to be my nap of the day, Annie Mac in the 305 at Warwick. We then stay at Warwick for our final selection of the day in the 340. A stay-in handicap hurdle over 3 miles 2 furlongs. It's going to be a war of attrition tomorrow. But I'm going to be putting up More in Spirit for the same connections for John Joe Neal Jr. and John Joe O'Neill. Now, this horse won a decent race, I thought, last time at Ascot. I thought it was not a bad race for the grade. A novice handicap hurdle to beat Chris Gordon's Blame the Game, who had some good form coming into that race. And Morning Spirit had been a horse I put up earlier in the season when he made the frame on a couple of his starts at Bangor on D. He also as well made the frame at Kempton. But those races he was running in were quite good, and the form of them have worked out quite well. So I think you should take up note there. Also as well, it was his first time over a proper stamina trip last time out, and he seemed to relish it. He also as well can handle the deep ground. It was very heavy at Ascot last time. The handicapper did have his say and did raise him £8 for that victory, but I thought there could still be a little bit more to come from Morning Spirit. If we look at the rest of the field as a whole, I don't think it was a particularly strong race, and I think Morning Spirit will take all the beating here. You can currently back him at 7-2 at the time recording. I think that's a great price there, and arguably he can go shorter again come post time tomorrow, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet there as my extra tip of the day. But yeah, I thought he had really solid credentials, and I think he would take all the beating in the race there at Warwick. So yeah, they're my 3 tips for tomorrow then. Quickly then, just run through the 3. In the 220, the next best of the day is Petalite, a 3-1, 1-point win only bet. In the 305 at Warwick, nap of the day is Annie Mac at 2-1, 1-point win bet. And in the 340 at Warwick, we go with Morning Spirit 7-2, 1-point win only bet. So they're the 3 tips for tomorrow's race. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to more videos here on my YouTube channel. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, the best place to do so is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please game responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.